After 2 years of what feels like a frozen real estate market, things are finally starting to shift. Let's talk about what I'm anticipating for the real estate market from 2025 rolling into 2026. From home prices, interest rates, to whether or not you should be buying or selling. Let's dive right in. The first thing we've got to talk about is, where are we now? There are currently $700 billion worth of properties for sale across the United States. And interestingly, as of April, those asking prices are up 1.4%. Those asking prices being up by 1.4% might explain why sales levels are at historical lows, but according to the NAR, they're expecting an uptick of 6% through the end of 2025 of inventory selling. And in 2026, they're predicting 11%. One of my own theories here is that we're going to see like a post-tariff bump in the economy, similar to what we saw after COVID. Things declined and then they exploded. That's something that I could very much see happening. And as somebody actively involved in the market, I wouldn't be upset about it at all. The second thing we should talk about is home prices and sales trends. Recent content from biggerpockets.com has them betting on 2 to 3% appreciation in 2025, with a 3 to 4% increase in appreciation in 2026. Now, interestingly, with real estate, I've said this over and over and over again on this channel, it is hyper local. So in some markets, you're going to continue to see rapid appreciation, in some instances, even double digit, while you have other markets that are declining. For instance, Chicago is up like 6 to 7%, but some markets in Florida, like Cape Coral or Tampa, are seeing declines. The third thing we should look at is mortgage rates and construction. I personally believe the days of 2% rates are unfortunately long gone. Sucks because I bought a house in California that was way more expensive than what I owned in Florida. And I really wish I was able to lock in at a 2.25% rate like what we had in Florida. I realistically see us getting into like maybe the low 6s, but I'm not anticipating much better than that. When it comes to new construction, single family seems to be doing pretty decent. There's been about a 3% increase in the starts of new builds. However, multifamily is not looking so hot. It's down by about 4%. Now, the folks over at Morningstar are expecting a rebound rolling into 2026. But personally, I can tell you what I'm seeing. Rates are higher, taxes are higher, insurance is higher. All of those things make it harder to cash flow, particularly on a new build. Not to mention, I don't think the permitting process is getting cheaper or easier in most markets. The fourth thing we should talk about is the rental market, with it being harder to buy a home and homes being more expensive from like an affordability standpoint than they've been in the past. The rental market is seeing an increase in demand, but there are still like budgeting and cash flow concerns amongst the average renter. Zillow predicts that single-family rent growth is likely to go up by 2.8% in 2025, and multifamily, they're forecasting right at 1.6%. Some of the larger landlords that I know have started to really focus on like government-backed rentals, things like Section 8, as well as just affordable housing in general. Can we build a great product that's affordable to lease, where it still makes money? Because there appears to be a lot more demand for that than like super sexy, swanky, expensive apartment complexes. When it comes to like overall forecast and summary, I'm personally cautiously optimistic. We are seeing the average like inventory supply, how many months of inventory there's listed, climb. I think as that continues to climb, people's dollars are going to go further when they're buying properties. Personally, if I was shopping for a home right now, I'm not paying retail, and I'm probably making some pretty insulting offers. But if I can get my dream home at a steal from somebody that wants to exit while the market frothies, win-win. For investors that are operating with wisdom, getting good deals that have tons of margin on them, I think now could be a great time to buy. But if you're paying retail and banking on just straight appreciation, I would be pretty cautious. If I'm a buyer, I would personally start shopping. If I've been kind of on the sidelines of I'm looking for a deal or maybe for my own home, now might be a great time to get a really good deal. If I'm considering selling and I have a really nice home, now might be a great time to do so. In most major metros, we are still seeing properties sell for above asking, anywhere from 10 to upwards of 50% in some crazy metros where people are still getting into bidding wars for really sexy houses. For my my guys that are investing in rentals, I would always lock in long-term debt. I know some people that have gotten absolutely slaughtered on adjustable rate mortgages, and I don't want to see you there either. If you're flipping houses right now, I would probably be cognizant of the fact of it might take longer to sell than you've historically experienced. One of the things I'm personally doing is looking less at just what comps were, and I'm now looking at what's my current competition, what's active, what's pending, what's closing, what's hitting back on the market. Comps might say you can get 500K all day long, but if everybody listed at 500K is dropping prices, that doesn't look so hot for you. The other thing I'm personally doing is looking to go into projects that worst case scenario, I can convert into a rental and still cover my expenses. It kind of feels to me like pre-COVID when it kind of hit, everybody was like, what does this do? How does this function? How are we going to exist in the market? I think we're kind of finding that out now with tariffs. Okay. Now that they're starting to get negotiated, like what is the new normal? And as people adjust to that new normal, you have a lot of people that have kind of been like waiting things out that just start to realize like, well, it is what it is. Thank you guys for taking the time to hang out with me. Again, my name is Ryan Dossey. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys next time.